Welcome, everyone, to a Big Ten Network chat. I'm Andy Katz, pleased to be joined by Wisconsin head coach Greg Gard, fresh off a European vacation. There were no antics. Everything went smooth. The most important thing is there was bonding and basketball and quite a lot of good sights, Greg. What do you think was the most important thing you got out of this trip?
Well, I think aside from maybe the historical perspective and some of the educational pieces, Normandy was off the charts, which the expectations were that it was going to be extremely impactful emotionally, and it was, I think, for everybody that went there that day with us. But I think you mentioned the bonding component, and I've always thought that the travel, the hotels, the airplanes, the bus rides, the having to lean on each other in a foreign country when you don't know the native language, it forces you to rely on each other. And I think that bonding and that development helps expedite what hopefully is a very good team chemistry as you prepare to walk into the season. And then obviously the opportunity to play games with, referees and scoreboards and those things, and get some experience going as we head into the fall.
Greg, you've been doing this a long time, and we've seen the evolution of the summer. I had one high-profile coach tell me, you know what, do I really want to take a trip? Because I get these guys now all the time. It used to be you wanted the trip, you get the 10 practices, right, and then the trip. But from hearing you talk and others, it feels like, yeah, it's just different when you go away rather than in the confines of your campus, that the bonding may not be the same. What do you think is the real benefit in this new era when you can be around your guys almost the whole summer?
Yeah, well, I mean, we can be around them, but also the recruiting calendar throws such a piece of the puzzle in there that a lot of times we find when we get back on campus or when our players get back, we're turning around and leaving on the road recruiting, specifically in late June and July. So I think maybe we don't get as much access as you would think, or as much consistent access. We get the days and the hours on the floor, but we find our time a lot of time that we're gone when they are here. We had that instance this year. They were home for the 4th of July. They came back right after the 4th. We turned around and left the next day as a staff. So I think that you have to balance that in moderation. And I've always felt that there are two schools of thought on the foreign tour trips, that sometimes it can be too much, and the season is so long in itself that you can, get some advanced fatigue, mental and physical. So I think we've tried to balance it. I've really been very cognizant in the summer of not trying to do too much, not trying to accomplish everything in June and July. And the same thing on the trip. I went with a different starting lineup every single game. I kind of played like Tony Granato here, our hockey coach. We went line substitutions, 5 in, 5 out. I played 11 guys consistently. Nobody played more than 21 or 22 minutes in any specific game. So I think that helped in terms of keeping everybody engaged that was able to play and compete in those games. And also it kept, our star power guys fresh. It gave younger guys a lot of minutes and a lot of time on the court that maybe if you had approached it in a normal mindset, they wouldn't get. And they did very well with it. I thought they handled everything well. We learned a lot on the fly. So like I said, we got through it and got out of it exactly what I wanted to. Nobody got hurt, which is always a concern as you go into those trips. So I think we'll know the benefits as we get into the fall. We think we have them. I think you'll learn more, or I'll learn more as we go into October, November, December. We start playing and see maybe what we learned in August over there. Can we, can that help expedite us and put us down the track even faster this fall?
So help me out here. I mean, is it fair for those of us not there to say there's a big three of Chucky Hepburn, Tyler Wall, and Jordan Davis? I don't know if that's fair or not, if it's a different three, or if you need a big three. I mean, what did you learn about sort of guys that you're going to need to count on scoring-wise, leadership-wise with this, retooled group?
Right. Well, I have 3 starters back, and they all started all 33 games. Other than Chucky and Tyler were hurt for a couple games, but Steve Crowell started all 33 last year. So those 3, obviously, because of the experience they bring back and the situations they've been in. And you mentioned Jordan Davis played in most of the games last year. Carter Gilmore. I've seen guys that maybe have been in the shadows, so to speak, take jumps, even though they haven't played a lot. they've been here for a year or two, and I've seen the noticeable, expected, and intended jumps in those guys. Gilmore is one of them. We mentioned Jordan Davis. Marcus Ilver's another one. Chris Hodges redshirted a year ago and hadn't played in an actual game since his junior year in high school because of the COVID and pandemic and missing the back half of the junior year. Sat out all of his high school senior year because his dad has a health issue that didn't need to get exposed to COVID. So for Chris, it was the first time in a real game in over 2 years. So you just saw the growth in a lot of those guys as time went on. Max Klesmit, Kamari McGee, 2 transfers that have joined us, I thought really hit the ground running and fit in rather quickly. And, we've got Isaac Lindsay play a little bit for us as well. Jacoby Neath didn't play because he hasn't been cleared yet for full contact coming off knee surgery in April. So, it was good. I thought, guys, everybody took steps forward. Everybody showed something at some point in time. And we got a lot out of the time over there.
Especially with Chucky and Tyler, they had to defer, and rightfully so, to a lottery pick in Johnny Davis. How ready are they to move up, to not defer, to take those big shots, to take ownership of those moments in games?
Yeah, I think we really saw Tyler last year in the game that Johnny didn't play against Providence. Tyler played exceptionally well, and I think that gave him some confidence to be able to have that mindset that he could take over games, and then follow that up with what he did in Vegas in the Maui Invitational. So you're right about having last year maybe deferring. Now those two specifically, they're front and center, and both have the ability to make the plays that Brad and Johnny did in years past, in different ways. I mean, where you don't replace Johnny Davis, you develop a team that has their own identity, and you find different ways in those key moments to manufacture baskets and get stops. But those two guys definitely will be front and center in terms of everything we do. And Steve Crowell has taken a huge jump. He's put on probably 15 to 20 pounds. He's about 245, and he's really physically taken a big jump. And with his skill set, that has been tremendous for him, because he's always been really skilled, shoots it, passes it, has a great feel for the game. But he was a little light and lacking in some areas. But now he's used last year's experience to transform himself in the weight room this year, and you could definitely see the difference in him as well. So those three will be front and center, and then we got to continue to find other guys and see who steps up and takes advantage of the opportunities that come down the road this fall.
All right, who's going to take the charges?
Well, we've got a few of them that Connor Esigian took some freshman. He found the basket and figured some things out defensively. Max Klesmit, I think fits right in with the Badgers of years past that maybe on a stat sheet won't grab your attention, so to speak, but they always find ways to help you win. And we've had a lot of those over the years here. So I think we actually took some. So we'll continue. Everybody's going to be required to take them, though, Andy. Nobody's going to be given a free pass that they can't take one. So, but I just like the way they played together. They played hard. It wasn't perfect. It never will be, never is. But it's a group that got along really well, and you could see them get better and better as time went on, and both individually and collectively. And I was, like I said, I was mixing and matching the lineups, probably kept them out of a better rhythm to even get through it, because we were playing 4 or 5 minutes in a spurt and then sub all 5 out. So it was, like I said, I'm glad I did it that way, because it forced me to sub. It forced me to play a lot of guys, and it gave these guys a great opportunity to show what they can do.
Hey, last two things. Schedule again. You've always sprinkled in enough really tough non-conference games to prepare for the Big Ten. What are your thoughts on what you put together?
Yeah, I think it'll be, this group's going to learn on the fly. Every game will be extremely important, because every game's going to be a learning opportunity for us. But obviously going to American Family Field to play Stanford there, second game of the year, will be awesome. That environment, I think, will be really neat, to like a regional final. It has that type of feel when I've been over there to do a sight view.
Have you gone down that slide or no?
What's that?
Have you gone down the Brewers
no,
slide?
I joked about that every 3-pointer we hit, maybe somebody go, "Hey, Andy, if you want to go down the slide every time," or
I saw some reporter like broke his arm or something from the Dodgers. So,
somebody only Bernie Brewer is really good at. But they need him to go down the slide a lot more here to make a playoff run. But you have that. You have the in-state game with Marquette, which is always good. Well, Wake Forest in the Challenge. We're in Atlantis, and we open with Dayton. So it'll be all we can eat in the non-conference. We'll get tested in a variety of ways, and then obviously our league. Although there's going to be a lot of new faces, the league lost a lot of star power. It'll be extremely competitive and as tough as ever. So when that comes, and I guess we're going to get the schedule here sometime soon. I haven't seen it come out yet, but we're waiting on that. But like I said, every game we're going to have to use every game to our advantage, because we're a lot further than we were 10, 12 weeks ago, but we've still got quite a ways to go yet, Andy.
Yeah, and again, Wisconsin will be a team that won't be picked to win it, but will be in the throes of the chase at some point in the season. You just know that's what's going to happen.
Well, they still let us play the games, right?
Yes.
Okay, so as long as we can play the games and compete, hey, when the dust settles, we'll see where everybody is. But like I said, this is going to be a fun group to watch, because there's a lot of unknowns, even to me. I mean, I spent 10 days with them and watched them in 4 games, and I'm a little more educated on what everybody can do and can't do, but not where I need to be, and they're not where they need to be yet either. And that's the fun part. I mean, if you knew where it was going to all land, a year ago, I didn't know where that was going to land either, and how they were going to develop. And that team listened, took coaching, worked, bonded together, and had an awesome, very fun year. And this group is, looking to walk down those same paths but create their own identity. And that's always the thing. I like to have each team be themselves and not worry about comparing teams to the past. We've had a lot of really good ones in the past, but they need to write their own story, which they will.
Well, I appreciate it, Greg. I know we'll see you soon. Actually, before we know it, we'll see you in Minnesota for Media Day. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Andy.